For many men, 13.5 minutes feels like an unachievable eternity. But that was the duration of Slayer's Haunting the Chapel, an album that helped reshape thrash metal and elevated their drummer, Dave Lombardo, to legendary status. Now that's not bad for an album with just 3 songs. The album is actually celebrating its 40th anniversary now, and I'm gonna tell you in this video about why it was made, how it was made, and the huge, unforeseen impact that a 17-year-old roadie had on the making of this album. Now, Slayer's first album, Show No Mercy, had been a huge success for the Metal Blade Records label and their best-selling album, selling over 40,000 copies worldwide. This was huge back then. So Brian Slagel, the label owner, was eager to put out more music, and he convinced the band to make this EP. The band goes into a studio in Hollywood, but the studio had no carpets on the floor. So that meant that the drum kit from Dave Lombardo kept on sliding on the floor uncontrollably, creating a lot of frustration for him. Enter Gene Hoglan, a 17-year-old roadie who also happened to be a drummer, and he brought with him a secret weapon, the double bass drum. Now, Gene had some history with the band. He had sang backing vocals on Evil Has No Boundaries of the first album, but this was the first time that he actually had an impact on the drumming. So Dave Lombardo had not been using a double kick drum set before, so he was very impressed with what Gene Hoglan showed him, and in the end actually Gene was sitting on the bass drums to keep the drum kit steady on the carpetless floor while Dave Lombardo worked his magic, and we all know where it went from there. I mean, the drum break in Angel of Death, and all the drummers that look up to Dave Lombardo. Imagine if this would not have happened. And Gene eventually went off himself, becoming the drummer of Dark Angel, Testament, Death, and a few other bands, and he's a legend in the industry. Now this album is definitely a shift in style for the band. They kind of abandoned the speed metal roots that they had on Show No Mercy and became more of a thrash metal style band that they kind of then mastered on Hell Awaits and future albums. The first 2 songs, Chemical Warfare and Captor of Sin, became mainstays on the setlist for the band basically up until their retirement, and probably will be back now in the reunion. The third song, the title song, didn't get as much attention, and it's definitely not as strong as the other 2. Now, I recall hearing about this album back in the days when I was a teenager, but it was a hard to get thing. Not a lot of people had it. And I found it a little bit scary, I don't know, because of the title or something like that. And the only person that I knew that had it was an older metal guy that I was scared of, and I wouldn't even want to say hi to him on the street. Now, I sort of accepted that this album would be some sort of a mythical album for me, something that I would never get my hands on. But then I went on holiday to Malaga in Spain, and I found this album, first pressing from a second-hand store, backroom of a second-hand store in Malaga in Spain, paid 10 euros for it, and now I have it. So I guess you can say that despite being a very brief album, it's a very impactful album. It's a pivotal moment for thrash metal, it definitely moved the band in a different direction, plus it introduced Dave Lombardo, thanks to Gene Hoglan, to double beat drumming. And it not only shifted Slayer's direction, it also is an album that people have mentioned, like Bolt Thrower and Death, have mentioned this album as a role model for some of the music that they would create. Now this album was later reissued with the 4th song added to the tracklist. That's the first song that Slayer actually wrote, that's Aggressive Perfector, that up until then had only been available on Metal Massacre number 3 that was released in 1983. I have a link, an affiliate link to Amazon down here to a super cool black and red vinyl that you can check out. That's in the description below, but I also have a little quiz for you guys. What band, well known today, was on Metal Massacre number 1? Now, I'd be very happy if you would like this video and subscribe to my channel for more album reviews, concert reviews, and interviews. And I want to tell you about this video up here. I went to see Judas Priest, Bruce Dickinson, and Doro the other day, all within 24 hours, and I actually ranked their performances.